Hey folks, Dennis Leppell here, and we are in my garage today, specifically my workbench. We got a little DIY project today. Today we are going to install an external charging port and a master shutoff switch on our Humminbird Helix 7 ice unit here. The pain point is that when you go to charge your battery at the end of the day, getting your hand inside these access holes for inside these transport bags can be a little bit difficult. And what we're gonna do is applicable for any sort of ice fishing depth finder that comes with a transport bag like this. So the first thing we're going to do is use our pocket knife here to create a hole carefully to put in our surface mount plug. Okay, so that looks like it'll work. So this particular plug is a 2.1 millimeter by 5.5 millimeter surface mount plug, and it includes a dust cap or waterproof cover. Our next step in the install is we are going to make a plastic washer to give us a little bit more surface area on the inside for when we have to bolt this down. We're just going to cut a bit of a washer. Okay, that'll do nicely. That'll be able to screw on and give us a little bit more surface area so this doesn't pull through. Maybe let's make one for the other side. So what we're doing here is probably going to avoid a manufacturer warranty. So if you're doing this on your own as well, proceed at your own risk. As such, I'm going to put an inline fuse holder in here just in case something happens during the charging process. Now we want our tolerances to be somewhat tight so our surface mount doesn't pull through the fabric. So we do have to solder this in place. And by that I mean we need to put on our nut, our homemade backing washer. We're gonna run it through the fabric. Now we need our surface washer. And then this gets soldered onto the center pin of our surface mount plug. Now we gotta do the same thing for our negative. Okay, so it's not the cleanest soldering job I've ever done. Just make sure you don't have any little metal pieces bridging the gap there and touching each other. You don't want anything to short out. Now we'll just tighten down the nut and our surface mount will be installed. There we go. Now we have ourselves a surface mount plug. We'll just put a couple clips on the other end and that'll connect to the battery. Always give your connectors a couple good tugs. Make sure they're secured very, very well. I might actually even put a little bead of solder on these as well. Okay, we've installed a 5 amp mini fuse into our inline system here. That should take care of any surge that we might ever possibly get and save our battery. But now that we've got our surface mount, we need to address the charger, and that's pretty easy. This wiring kit that I had ordered also comes with a couple pigtails. This kit also came with 19 more, 20 in total, so I can do a bunch of these things. So to deal with the charger, we're just going to cut off a good chunk here. We're going to leave ourselves a nice little lead. Now we're going to splice these together, dab of solder on there. So now we've got our plug. So now we can charge up our depth finder without having to open everything up at the end of the day. But if you have a spare battery, like I typically do, how are you going to charge that? Well, that's why we kept this part and left a nice lead on here. We're just going to mate up those two ends. And so whenever I need to charge up somebody else's battery or a spare battery, I can just plug it in right there. Just carry that around in your bag. You can always charge up a battery the traditional way. Now I also mentioned that we're going to put in a master shutoff switch. So I found this one that comes with a little bit of 3M tape right there. We are going to mount that on the handle right there So it'll hide behind the graph and I can turn everything on and off and make sure that my depth finder doesn't turn on accidentally. Now this just hooks up in line with the positive line from your battery to your depth finder. So we'll just strip these ends and put on the appropriate clips and we'll button everything back up. Now when I want to shut off the unit, I can just hit the switch and make sure that I don't accidentally power it on while I'm transporting. Well, this has been a fun little project for me to do, and I'm glad I could share it with you guys, and I hope it inspires you to do something like it yourself. And if you do have some great DIY projects for ice fishing, open water, what have you, send it to the link below. We'd love to hear it from you. And hey, if the idea is good enough, maybe we'll do it in the workshop next time. Hey, I'm Dennis Leppell. Stay tuned for more Midwest Outdoors.